Hello, and welcome to this. This is a primer, as promised, and it's about the Penguin Cafe Orchestra. Now, who or what are the Penguin Cafe Orchestra? They exist in two times, and I'll explain about that as we go on. The first iteration of the Penguin Cafe was headed up by a gentleman called Simon Jeffs. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he wrote most of the music for the band and was the band leader. They featured artists or regular. There was more of like a collective. There were many different musicians involved in the band. We had a core group of Helen Liebman, Gavin Wright, Jeffrey Richardson of Caravan, Annie Whitehead, Ian/Jennifer Maidman, and also featured contributions from people like Catherine Tickell, Nigel Kennedy, Steve Nye, and, well, Julio Segovia. Yes, there you go. What is the Penguin Cafe, and why should you be interested in them? What kind of music is it? Well, I think it was best described by Jeffs himself. He's trying to create a almost like a folk music for modern England. Some will say it's ambient, some will say it's new age, some will say it's world music. It's all of these things are more classical chamber music. You can't pigeonhole it, and there's a lot of different influences from all over the world, from Africa, from South America, from England, and far afield. I like them because they're a band that, without words, says so much. They're a purely instrumental band. You might even know one of their songs, Telephone and Rubber Band, which has been used to death on many adverts and many things. A lot of their music, like Perpetua Mobile, has been used on adverts too. So you may have already been infected by the Penguin Cafe and not even realise it. Now, I've got various CDs. I'm not going to do the vinyls. I've got the vinyls as well, but I thought it would be just too unwieldy. I'm just going to do the CDs and various other things. A little sip of orange to keep me going, and we'll work our way through the albums, shall we? Right, first up is music from the Penguin Cafe. This was originally released on Brian Eno's Obscure label back in 1976 before it was reissued on EG/Virgin Records. It kind of forms the blueprint of what's to come. Part of it's experimental, part of it is, fairly standard. The Penguin Cafe single that opens it is almost like a treatise of what's to come. Probably the most famous track off of this is Giles Farnaby's Dream, which is an old piece of music, but it's given a kind of South American shuffle. It's not their greatest moment, but it's an interesting start. Wouldn't necessarily start here if I were you. This is the one to get maybe when you go back. So that's the first album, 1976. Then we have a bit of a gap, and it's 1981, and we have Penguin Cafe Orchestra. That's the title of the album. Bands used to name albums after each other, after themselves. Again, I find this one's a much more interesting record than the previous one. You have Air a Dancer, Yodel One, Telephone and Rubber Band, which I've already mentioned. Pythagoras' Trousers, numbers 1 to 4, which is a very interesting rhythmic piece. Paul's Dance, which is a lovely little duet. Walk, Don't Run, which is it's a classic track. It's an old one. Yeah, anyway. And it's a good record. It's a nice introduction to the band. Then we jump to 1984 and Broadcasting from Home. There we go. I hope you can see that. opens with the now classic music for a found harmonium. I mean, it's a track that's almost become a traditional folk music song now in Irish music. They take Simon Jeff's name off and put trad, as if it's come from the past. But no, it was written by Simon Jeffs. Prelude and Yodel, White Mischief, music by Numbers, Heartwind, which is I think that one has an interesting use of the omnichord, and the very haunting Now Nothing. I quite like that one. And then we go to a live album, When in Rome. It's all the hits, but live. It's quite good. It's different arrangements. Yeah, worth checking out. But we're carrying with the studio albums. Signs of Life. One could say this is the last gasp from the band. Opens went up with the Great Beanfields, Southern jukebox music. I can never say it right. Rosa Solis, which I think is a great track, and Dirt, which has the most fantastic clangy guitar and clang, clang, and it sounds like a train. The song sounds like a train moving across a musical landscape, clang, and of course the now classic Perpetuum Mobile, a great record, and probably the last gasp from the band. And then, to make things more interesting, they did a classical version of the tunes. This is Still Life at the Penguin Cafe. Now, Simon Jeffs worked with the BBC Concert Orchestra, but he also worked with, I can never remember that guy's name. David Bintley, that's it, he says. Trying to remember. David Bintley's a choreographer. Now, it depends which version you've got, because I'm going to be clever here. Oh. See, if you're clever like me, you'd have owned the Laserdisc version. Yes, there is indeed a ballet with amazing dancers dancing to the music of the Penguin Cafe. Now, I have a lovely, sweet story to tell, and it's what got me into the band. All those years ago, it was 1980, I can't remember, 88, 89, and ITV, do you remember them? ITV is a TV channel in the UK, were showing a series of arts programmes, like they used to do back in the day, and one of them was Still Life at the Penguin Cafe, and I'd only heard a little bit of the band at that point, only like Perpetuum Mobile, I think, and so, but I knew the name. So I settled down with it and I watched it with my dear departed Nan. We both sat there and we watched it. And, well, we really enjoyed it. Ballet for the masses. It was a real great thing. We laughed because there's a lot of humour in it as well. Yeah, there can be humour in ballet as well. And it's a particularly, I'm tearing up, it's a particularly warm memory of being with me Nan, watching this. Again, the music's had an impact on me. And you also get a great documentary from the South Bank show on this as well. But you don't, Laserdisc, who owns a Laserdisc player? I did once, but I kept this just because I just couldn't bear to sell it. That's how you accumulate all this crap. But they've subsequently reissued it on DVD, which you can buy, and I recommend anybody out there, because they study this in UK schools as part of the music and culture programme. So if you want to check that out, it's well worth checking out. There's probably clips of it on YouTube, but hey, support the artists. But yeah, so that is the soundtrack to this, if that makes sense, with some extra tracks as well. So it's a classical take on the band, which is interesting enough. And then he said we need to get the next album. I've got this is actually a promo CD. Wow, which has some. Well, it's called Penguin Cafe Orchestra Union Cafe Shorts, Here's Union Cafe, which was released in 1993. God, I've even got a clipping. I've got a clipping inside here from the Evening Standard. So about the band playing. See? There's a picture of Simon Jeffs and the band. Yeah, so kept that. It's a shame because they were playing, but I was a poor student. I couldn't afford to go and see them, and again I've regretted it all my life. Regretted not being able to see that iteration of the band. Union Cafe, again it's one of those albums that's symptomatic of the CD era. Must feel the whole thing for the music. It's 73 minutes long. Mind you, you know, some of it is, if I remember, a musical dripping tap. But yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff on it. Scherzo and Trio is quite good. Cage Dead, Yodel 3, Organum, and their take on the classic Discover America. Do 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 do. This is what you come for, my tuneless renditions of popular songs. There's a good album in there somewhere. I often say that about long albums, but it needed to be edited down. There's just too much music, and some of it is a little bit undercooked for my taste compared to the other records. So now we go. There's a lot of compilations and live albums to get through. Should we go through those? Yeah. Right. This is Penguin Cafe Orchestra concert program. And this is a double CD, and it's probably more representative of the band than Signs of Life, and it also covers up to Union Cafe as well, so you get a much longer, better coverage. Over 100 minutes of music, boasts the sleeve. There you go. And I actually got this on import. Look, I don't know if you can see that. There's an import sticker. Remember those? My goodness. Windham Hill. Yeah, so I quite like that one. Then we got a compilation, which is Preludes, Airs and Yodels. If you see this one knocking around, do get it up, because it's probably one of the better compilations. There's an awful lot of compilations for the Penguin Cafe. What I like about this one is you have a really good cover of Music for a Found Harmonium by Stephen Street, and it's all done on acoustic guitar, and Panda Harmonium, which is a reconstruction by, oh god, who did it? Oh goodness, let me have a look at the inlay. Panda Harmonium, who did that one? Will it tell me? The Orb. That was it. I almost said Orbital, but no, it's the Orb. So you've got a little obituary there, a cutting of Simon Jeffs, which is interesting to hear. But yeah, it's a good compilation. There's a lot of them. This is the soundtrack to a film called Oscar und Lenny, a German film. In fact, that's the actual cover, but I don't like that cover. I like to see the band smiling and laughing. I don't think these have been rejiggered. I think these are all just tracks from the albums and live cuts. But you know, if you can pick it up. I still haven't seen the film yet, so must try and track that one down. And then, if I recall, this was released after Simon Jeff's death. This is called Piano Music, and apparently he was working on various bits and bobs. It opens with the most beautiful track called Lullaby, which was completed by the Penguin Cafe Orchestra. I actually had this played at my mother's funeral because it's just the most beautiful piece of music, and it makes me fill up just thinking about it. And yeah, I mean, it's as you can understand, because it's all offcuts, it's not the greatest album in the world. It's very interesting to hear Simon Jeff's composing without everyone else, and various different versions of things. So it's worth a peep. And then another compilation, the second Penguin Cafe Orchestra sampler. I don't even know where I got this from. It's a peculiar kind of, I don't know, magenta sleeve, released in 2004. But again, all the tracks I've got, so it's not really worth it. And then HMV, do you remember them? Do you remember HMV? They brought out an easy listening range. Again, it's another compilation. I bought this because I really like the sleeve. It's got a picture of a composer with a penguin's head superimposed on it, and you can tell I'm a bit obsessed by now. The obsession. And then we have A Brief History, which is another compilation, which is a cut down version of the box set, A History, Brief History, A History. And Simon Jeff's son, went through the back catalogue and started remastering it, and he put them in this lovely box set. And there's a nice little essay with all the artwork. Can't really get it going here. Well, this is where I need a second cameraman. But it's a nice little box set, and you can pick this up for pennies. And it's well worth it because you get near enough the whole back catalogue in a lovely boxy set, which is cool. But if you're a real obsessive, you'll pick up A Brief History. What, Darren? What is this? This is the SACD version. Yeah, the SACD version, and you can hear Penguin Cafe in the ultimate of resolutions, and it's quite nice to hear. What else is there to? Well, we'll mention notable appearances. Firstly, Morgan Fisher compiled 2 great albums. They're called Miniatures, he said, and there are 2 volumes of them. Miniatures 1, which features Arthur's Treat, and this is Miniatures 2. There's a track, I can't remember the name of the track, A Pythagorean Roll. Oh, it's all gone dark. What's happened there? Oh God. Someone entered me password. The light from the monitor is the only thing that's illuminating light. It's been a long day. I mean, it's only 10 to 1 in the morning. This is when I'm doing this. God dear Darren. Who needs sleep? Sleep's for wimps. We'll sleep when we're dead. So yeah, these albums are really interesting if you like really small pieces of music. The idea is to compile a minute of music from each artist and put them down. So you've got like 60 tracks of very disparate stuff. Robert Fripp appears on here as well on both of these. So I love these albums. I think they're really, really strange and experimental. They also appear on Arcane, which is another great record. Chinese Canon and Yodel 3, and a version of Cage Dead as well, which is on the Real World label. I think this is still in print. I don't know, but it's a really good record to get. I love it because back in the day, Peter Gabriel made loads of different artists record together, and this is the result of it. And if you want to watch a movie, for all the Australians out there are going, wow, Darren knows about Australian movies. Too right, Cobber. This is a great film called Malcolm, starring the great Colin Frill, and they use an awful lot of Penguin Cafe Orchestra music in it, and it's fantastic, and I love it, and it's very funny, and it's a great little 1980s comedy thing, and they don't make films like this anymore. But you got the Penguin Cafe all the way through it, Paul's Dance, and yeah, I think it's a really great. I saw this on the TV once, and it just stuck, and I had to buy it on DVD when I realised it was out there. And I only got this recently, and I watched it again. It was just as I remembered it, just as fantastic as I remembered it. So, right, so you're thinking of buying Penguin Cafe Orchestra. Now, recently, he said, they reissued them all. Oh, they didn't, did they? Yes, they did. They reissued them, and they remastered them. And so now they look like this. They come in little gatefoldy kind of, little. So they're all remastered. They're all right. They've messed around with the artwork a bit, taken a few liberties, but so music from the Penguin Cafe Orchestra, broadcasting from home. I should know this off by heart. Signs of Life, When in Rome, Union Cafe, concert program, and piano music. So those have been all rejiggered and remastered, and they're the ones you probably pick up if you go and buy them on Amazon now, rather than the jewel case ones. I don't know if you can get those. Probably get those off of eBay, but they're roughly the same price, I think. So, Penguin Cafe is no longer an orchestra. It's now the Penguin Cafe, and it's run by the new proprietor. The Bell proprietor was Simon Jeffs. The new proprietor is actually Arthur Jeffs, who is Simon Jeffs' son, and he's moved on. It's kind of a shame because he's got rid of all the old musicians. The old musicians are still out there, and they are still playing. They're called The Band That Fell to Earth, and I must try and see them sometime. But yeah, they're still playing. But it's a real shame that he didn't keep a few of them on, and augment the band with the newer musicians, because it's a shame that he's kind of thrown out all that experience. But I guess he wants to put his mark on things. That's his prerogative. Anyway, the first thing they kind of released was music from the Penguin Cafe live from the Royal Albert Hall, and this was released, and all the money I think went to charity. Yeah, went to the Teenage Cancer Trust, and it also comes with a DVD, which is quite nice. You get all the classic tracks on there, but done by the new band, a new arrangement, and it's quite good. Meanwhile, back in 2011, the band released a new album called A Matter of Life. There it is. There's some good tracks on it. That, Not That, Landau, Harry Piers, Ghost in the Pond. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad record. It's quite enjoyable and owes a lot to the past. And this coming Monday, the 17th of February 2014, if you're watching this in the future, the Red Book, the next album from this lot, is out, and I shall be reviewing that whether you like it or not. So there you have it. I think that's the whole of the Penguin Cafe in its entirety. I haven't bothered doing singles and 12 inches, but I could do, but I'm not going to. So which ones should you buy? Well, it's good because there aren't that many albums. You could just get Penguin Cafe Orchestra history box set and get everything in one fell swoop. But if you don't want to do that, go for Penguin Cafe Orchestra, broadcasting from home, and Signs of Life. That's it. You don't really need any more. Or, if you want to explore the live stuff, there's those live albums too. But those three albums should keep you happy, and I do recommend checking them out. They're a band that are dear to me. That I can go back to when I feel the need for musical nourishment, and without being overly complicated, are probably one of the most progressive bands you'll ever hear. There you go. Progressive. They were progressive. And that's it. My name's been Darren Lock. I've been whittering on about the Penguin Cafe Orchestra and doing my best to provide a primer for them. Hopefully I haven't bored you to death with all this. I hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to thumbs it up, like it, share it, Facebook, whatever it is, and the Google Plus and all that stuff, you know. And we'll do it all again. And that's it. Only one more thing to say, other than check out the Penguin Cafe Orchestra, and that is ta-ta.